Provo City School Board of Education, meeting at 280 West, 940 North in Provo, Utah. And we're going to begin with a roll call. And Devin, I'm going to have you start.
Devin Daly, Business Administrator. Terry McCabe, Board Member.
Gina Hales, Board Vice President.
Jennifer Partridge, Board President.
Wendy Dow, Superintendent.
Meg Van Wagenen, Board Member.
Emily Harrison, Board Member.
Melanie Hall, Board Member.
Lisa Boyce, sorry.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Sorry, Lisa Boyce, Board Member.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to start our, to convene our Truth and Taxation hearing?
I move that we convene a Truth and Taxation hearing.
Okay, a motion made by Board Member Hall. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Van Wagenen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we are now in our Truth and Taxation hearing, and we will begin by turning it over to our Business Administrator, Devin Daly, for a little overview of this. Oh, before Devin starts, you can come on up, Devin. But just if there is anyone here who would like to give input at the hearing, just please make sure you've gotten a paper in the back here and filled it out, and then you'll come turn it into our assistant Bonnie over here, and that's how I will know who to call up for their turn to give public input after Devin is done.
Thank you for this chance to talk about our tax increase. So this year, well, several years ago, it was determined by the board that they wanted to explore truth and taxation every other year to be able to do incremental increases rather than wait a long period of time and then do a large increase. This allows to do a little bit more with inflation and be able to take care of our employees. So if you want to go to the first slide, Cade. So some of the things that we talked about a lot in our budget discussions were some of the complications that we had in creating our budget. So we got a 4% increase in our WPU, which is not very much of our revenue. So it's about a third of our revenue. So that 4% does not include all the rest of the revenue that we receive. In fact, we received a small decrease in federal revenue, and then our local revenue is basically only our taxation. We had a 30% increase in our health insurance, which equated to about a $4.5 million increase. We've gotten an incredible amount of an increase in our substitute teachers, our health department contract, online education for students, and then our retiree medical coverage. And one of our discussions has always been, and this is in the forefront of all of the board discussions, is making sure that our teacher compensation and our admin at the schools compensation is more in line with other districts. We lose a lot of teachers to neighboring districts after the first few years because their salaries after the first 5 years are a lot higher. Even this year, our starting salary was a little bit lower. We increased it to get a little bit closer to the other districts this year with this proposed tax increase, but we're still working on ways, especially looking at some of those expensive programs that we run as a district to make sure that they continue to be viable and that they continue to be really necessary and good for our students. So we're proposing a tax increase tonight. So if you want to go to the next slide, Cade. Cade, go to the next page. Sorry. Oh, you didn't get the new one. Go forward. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, so this is our FY26 tax info. This is our proposed rates for this year. So last year we were at a 007208. This year our rate has actually gone down to a 007017. And then this new tax rate will generate $4,034,177 in new tax revenue. So the sum total of all of the increases in our budget between health insurance and our salary increases was about $7 million. Some of that is covered by the WPU, and then the rest of that will be covered by our tax. our tax increase. The 7017 went down because the valuations in our city went up. And so anytime we don't receive any kind of windfall in the school district, if the valuations go up, it just adjusts that down. So the way it calculates is what was our last year revenue that we got plus whatever our debt service requirements are and the basic program that is set by the state, and they divide that number by the valuation and come up with our rate. So if the valuations of homes did not go up too far above this county average, which is 0.9%, the total tax liability to the district actually went down. But most of them are fairly even unless valuations went up quite a bit. I received about 1,000 pages of the valuation notices, and there were only a few that went up significantly, but that was because a home was finished on unfinished land or there was a subdivision. So let's go to the last page, and this is just a quick overview of other districts. So the average per pupil, and not including Park City. Park City's on this list. They are a unicorn in the school districts, and their valuation per student is significantly higher. The average, though, in the districts that are listed, which are a lot of our neighboring districts and ones that are pretty comparative to us, in either size or area, is about $5,900 is the average per pupil without that Park City amount. Our amount is $5,600, so we're about $240 less than the state average per student. And as you look at some of the bigger districts, their per student amount goes down because they have a higher amount of the taxable value. And also in that the prior year taxable, that is the percentages, that's the amount of the city that is taxable. So if that amount were 55%, that would mean the entire city is residential. So that difference between the two is the amount that's brought in from businesses, which is why homeowners take on a little bit of an additional burden than some of the other larger districts that have a pretty big, either centrally assessed, which is some of the larger power plants and airports, as opposed to less of that. We don't have a lot of industrial here in the city of Provo. So I know that the board's been really mindful about making sure that the impact is not felt significantly, and we've tried to make it a really good compromise between getting the revenue that we need to make sure our teachers are taken care of and that we can help close that gap, and not providing too much of an issue with our residents. Any questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Devin. We appreciate that. All right, now's the time in our hearing for public input. Do we have anyone who's turned in a form? Okay, great. And if there's anyone else here who would like to give comments, please make sure you fill out a form that's in the back and then come turn it into Bonnie over here. All right, and when you come up, if you'll say, please, your name, the elementary boundary in which you reside, and you'll have 3 minutes. So Christy Giblin.
Hello. Good to see you all, as always. My name's Christy Giblin. I'm a teacher at Shoreline Middle School. I'm actually a resident of Taylorsville, but I have worked in this district a long time, and I'm the president of the Provo Education Association. I just wanted to say thank you to this board and administration for the transparency that is available about district funding. I mean, as you know, I don't have to tell you, I attend most board meetings or study sessions, or I listen to them online. And I'm really pleased at how much is available to the people who actually want to know what's going on in the district. I really appreciated the in-depth study session we had a few months ago where you went over the survey results from people in the community where they prioritized their needs for their students and that they'd just like to see in the community. And it was really enlightening to see what's important to members of the community and to know that if they choose, they do have an opportunity to have a voice and that this board does listen to that voice and make decisions based on that. And, I have to admit, I mean, my property taxes in Granite School District are going up about $250 this year. And I just got that statement in the mail and was like, yikes. And I had a harder time trying to find where that's going in their district. It's a bigger district. They've got a lot more to sort through. I'm sure it's available if I look hard enough. I'm just not as familiar with their resources as I am here. But I can say confidently that the information is out there for those who are willing to look. And I just really appreciate the effort that goes into that. In Devon's presentations, like the one that she gave today, there's a lot of information available to the public. This board does not try to hide money or I can assure people in the community there's nothing shady happening. Everything is done in trying to balance the needs of the community with the needs of the students in our school district. And that's why I still work here. I mean, it's worth the commute to come and work here, and I'm proud to be a Provo School District employee. So just thank you for that. And just a reminder to anyone from the public listening in, the information is there. You just have to look at it. You can't get information from social media posts or just angry rants from people who don't actually know what's going on. So if people don't know, I know that they can reach out to any of you and ask where to look. And thank you for that. And I hope you guys have a good start to the school year as well as us. Thanks.
Thank you, Christy. All right, have we received any other forms? No. Okay, for those who just walked in, if you would like to give a public comment at our hearing about our truth in taxation rates, then you can fill out a form that's in the back, and it will have you turn, oh, sorry, they're on the side. Okay, my bad. They're here on the side. And then once you fill that out, you can turn it into Bonnie over here, and then we will call you up. And we want to thank you for being here tonight, and for those of you who are also joining us online. And then just while we're waiting, after this public hearing, we will go into our business meeting where anyone who would like to comment on anything else related to the district, there will be a time for public comment then as well. Right now, these comments are just specific to our truth in taxation and our rate change to bring in the money for our teacher salaries. All right, well, when you come up, if you will just state your name and the boundary in which you reside, the elementary boundary, and you'll have 3 minutes. And we'll start with Nathan Hadfield.
I'm Nathan Hadfield. I live in the Wasatch Elementary area. And I just came just before this meeting from dropping my oldest son off at the University of Utah. He's starting his first semester there, and so it's been a day to kind of reflect on the impact of teachers and education in my children's lives. And I have another son who'll be a junior this year. He's at Utah County Academy of Sciences. Also been blessed deeply by great teachers there. And in my own life, I've thought about the teachers that have blessed me. And I think the thing about education is that I think most of us can point to teachers that have made an impact in our lives, that have inspired us often to choose the professions we have, or have trained us in the things we have. It's not easy to measure the direct economic benefit that we get from good teachers, but I think we can recognize that it's there. And in my opinion, investing in our children's educations and investing in good teachers is one of the best investments that we can make in our community. And so, to be honest, I haven't studied the specifics of what's being proposed. I just know that any time that we can make it easier for teachers to do what they do, I'm wholeheartedly supportive of that effort. And so I appreciate that this is something that is being considered, and I hope that it will pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. All right, up next we have Brian Cannon.
So my name is Brian Cannon. I'm from the Provost neighborhood, and I strongly support the efforts to increase the salaries of teachers. I think their contributions are invaluable. Whenever a tax increase is proposed, I also want to know what has been done to ensure that our district is operating in as lean and an efficient manner as possible. And I know that a restructuring took place, but it was unclear to me when I read on the district's website if positions had been cut, if any funds had been saved by doing that, or if the positions had simply been moved around and moved elsewhere, moving from the district office into the schools or things like that. And so as a taxpayer, I'm supportive of taking steps to increase teachers' wages, but I also am concerned about efficiency in the district, and just want to encourage the board to look carefully at what savings have been accrued as a result of the recent reorganization, and to be sure that you feel comfortable in moving ahead with this increase and feel that that's responsible from a fiscal efficiency standpoint.
Thank you so much, Brian. Is there anyone else here to give comment tonight? Okay, then we will close that portion of this meeting. And now we will move on to the consideration to approve tax rates. So what we'll do is we'll take a motion and a second, and then we'll have a discussion on that before we vote. So do we have a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the proposed certified tax rate of 0.007017.
Okay, thank you. Motion made by Board Member Van Wagenen. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Board Member Boyce. Okay, do we have discussion on the motion? Melanie.
I just wrote a little bit about why I'm going to vote the way I am. Am I okay to talk about that here?
Yes, this is the perfect time for that.
Okay. So I support the proposed property tax increase because it is an investment directly in our teachers and principals and employees, the people who make the greatest difference in our children's education. This increase will go toward competitive salaries and benefits, helping Provo keep and attract the high-quality educators our students deserve. Last year, the district avoided the tax increase by relying on temporary funding sources like federal relief funds and interest income, but those resources are now gone. At the same time, costs, especially health insurance, have risen significantly. Without competitive pay, we risk losing talented teachers to neighboring districts that can offer more. Good schools are not built by buildings alone, but I'm very grateful for the new schools that we have and those new updates. But they are built by great teachers who feel valued, supported, and able to stay in our community. This increase is not about luxury, it is about ensuring stability and quality in our classrooms. I also believe that we need, as we address salary needs now, we should commit to reviewing our educational programs in the future, ensuring that every initiative is delivering value, supporting student success, and using taxpayer dollars wisely. Balancing fair compensation for educators with thoughtful program evaluation will help keep our district strong and responsive to the needs of our community. Supporting this proposal means that we are choosing to invest in the long-term success of our children, our schools, and our community. The benefits of well-supported educators far outweigh the modest cost to property owners. The future returns will be measured in stronger learning outcomes and a more vibrant Provo.
Thank you, Melanie. Okay. Who else? Anyone else would like to speak? Are you Meg? Meg, are you?
Yeah, but Gina can go
Okay,
first.
Gina, go ahead.
I thought about writing out my thoughts and then did not do it. So I'm just going to have to go off the top of my head and hope for the best. I agree with everything that Melanie said, as well as our three commenters, and I appreciate those comments coming in. One thing I have been very pleased with our business administrator is her ability to go in and look at our budget and look at how can we utilize what we have more efficiently. And I've been very pleased with that as we've looked at different things. I've been very pleased with our administration here, as well as the board, honestly, because we are looking really closely at these programs. And it's not popular to look at these programs. We have gotten some not so fun emails from people saying you're going to cut the DLI programs. Like we're not going to, but I do believe that we need to look at those programs, make sure they're delivering what they're supposed to be delivering, and if not, we have to make a decision. And the decision isn't necessarily do we cut the program or keep it. It's how do we then, we do need to look at do we cut it, but also we need to look at can we make it more efficient. And I think we always have more work to do in that area. But I am worried that we're going to have to continue to rely on property taxes for a variety of reasons. One is that federal money is drying up. We're not getting federal money the way that we used to, and so we have to figure out where do we get that money from. And the other thing is our legislature would like to shift the tax burden more locally, which I can kind of understand, but what that means is property taxes. That is the only way that we can, when they say shift the burden to local property tax, to local more locally, that's property taxes. That's the only way that we have that. And so I'm concerned about that for a variety of reasons that I won't go in here today. But I would encourage everybody listening to take a look at some of these proposals that are out there that are happening, the legislature would like to do, as well as our federal government. And I think that if we can help them to understand that property taxes it's difficult for everybody. It's difficult for us to sit here and vote for an increase in property taxes, and it's also difficult for people to pay additional property taxes. And I would love for us to work together with the legislature as well as the federal government in figuring out how can we fund our public education. I'm 100% committed to public education. I'm one of the kids who would not have gotten an education if there wasn't public education. My parents couldn't have afforded it. And so I'm very grateful for public education. Oh, I didn't think I was going to cry this time. I'm getting old and my hormones are out of control. I'm committed to public education. I don't think it should be limited to the people who can afford it. And so I am equally as committed to making sure that we utilize our property taxes and that we're careful with that money and that we are cutting where it needs to be cut and keeping where it needs to be kept. I am equally committed to all those things, but I do plan to vote for this, despite the fact that my property taxes will be going up a little bit this time around. So, the end.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Meg, we'll have you go, and then we'll have Lisa go after Meg.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Gina. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you for everyone who's come tonight to share your thoughts and your perspective. I appreciate it. And I agree. I feel very committed to public education, and I think we are seemingly at such an interesting snapshot in time right now with public education. And one reason why I feel it's important to vote for this increase is by being able to work on our teacher salaries and show that commitment to them. I think it shows a commitment to public education and to our students and to our care for them as a community. I think I'll kind of speak to this because it hasn't, Gina and Melanie did a great job, and so I'll speak to some a little bit different, even though I do agree with what they shared. I have appreciated Devin's approach to thinking about how to increase this rate and do it in a way that really is a minimal impact to our residents and to our taxpayers here. And I think as a school board member, came into this very mindful of the burden on taxpayers, and I also know of my responsibility to our students here in the city, and I do think it's important that we operate with good governance, and I think being mindful of not just the now, but moving forward in the future, and being able to structure these tax increases in ways that are minimally, and they're incremental and small to address needs that can help prevent us from making large changes in the future that really impact largely in ways that are much different than these smaller incremental changes. And especially with this tax rate increase, for many folks, they won't even see a dollar amount increase, which is a win when we are also getting the benefit of being able to address our teacher salaries. So like it's been said, I remember the great teachers in my life, and I have teachers and educators in my family, and I just think they're the best people. So thank you.
Okay, Lisa?
All right, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity just to share my thoughts on this. I'm pretty sure none of us on the board welcome the necessity of raising anyone's taxes. When we increase people's taxes, we increase our own taxes, and that's not an easy decision for any of us. I wanted to speak first to just the commitment that I have seen from our superintendent and our business administrator to really look closely at every position in this district and make sure that we are being good stewards with the resources our taxpayers give to us. I would encourage anyone with any concerns around this to come in the doors of our district office and sit down with our business administrator, sit down with superintendent, or any of us on the board would talk with you, but those are the experts, and ask them your questions and let them show you how very thorough and thoughtful and strategic they have been to make sure that we do not need to raise any taxes higher than our demands require in order to run the kind of programs that we want here in Provo. We do have a vision of Provo City School District being a destination district where people want to bring their children to learn, or their grandchildren here, welcomed here to learn, but also where people want to work and people want to teach because they know they're going to be valued and supported. And that can only be done if we're wise with the resources that we have. And that's why we're asking the hard questions around our physical facilities. Are they being utilized to the amount that they can be? Are we wise in the way we run these programs? Are the programs delivering the value we want them to deliver? Can we measure that? What do our community members value and want for their kids? Are our schools safe? There's so many pieces to this in terms of the curriculum that we run and the tech support, and there are people working at so many levels in this district, and each person is doing the job, I feel like, of at least 10 other people. And so I just want to say, come on in, let us show you. And if you have ideas of how we can do this better, or ways that we can manage resources in a way that you think would be better, please come and share with us. This is a collaborative endeavor. We want our community to be our partners in this process. But having spent the last 2 years on the finance committee here in this district and coming in with all the questions and thinking that I was going to find things that could radically change or I just want you to know there are people here who know what they're doing and they are doing it so well. And you should come in and ask them to show you because they are so transparent with all of that data and answer all of your questions. So I'm actually really proud of the way that this has been handled. I'm impressed by the thoughtfulness of all of our employees, and I personally believe this is the absolute right thing to do right now in order to continue to build the kind of educational programs that this community deserves.
Thank you. Anyone else, Terry or Emily?
Really quick.
Okay, go ahead, Emily.
Just one really quick thought. I get to serve on the parent advisory committee with the parents in the district. And when we first met, one of the main things that several of the parents said is that retaining teachers was very important to them. And I'm just happy that this will help keep that going because we can show that we do value our teachers and we're wanting to keep them here. Thanks.
Thank you. Terry, did you want to say anything?
Sure. Unlike other government entities, the school district's only revenue source that we can control is property taxes. And since Provo is over 50% nonprofit status, the property tax burden is higher for us as homeowners than in other cities. The majority of the school district's budget does come from state income tax. If you want to pay less in property tax and more in income tax, then please contact your state legislator who represents Provo. They are very nice people, and they really do like hearing from their constituents.
Thank you, Terry. That leaves me to get to say something, and you guys are all so eloquent. I don't have much to add, but I will echo how grateful I am for our district team who works so hard and has worked the last few years especially to find efficiencies and to not just in our finances, but in how we're allocating our resources and supporting our teachers, because that's what it's all about. It's all about students, and to help our students the best, we need teachers who have that support, who can be effective, who have the training that they need, and the help when things get difficult and all of those things. And so I'm grateful for all the work that we've been doing on that. I'm grateful to work with a board who I feel like all of my colleagues ask really thoughtful questions that do go a lot to, what was asked today, how are we allocating things? How can we be more efficient? Our boundary and feasibility study that we're in the middle of, all those things, we're always asking, how can we be better? And I love working with people like that who ask that, but also ask it in a like, let's work together, positive kind of way. Like, we're building great things in our district, and I just love all the good momentum that's happening in our district, and I'm grateful for that. I also echo the sentiments of being a taxpayer and myself, and the pull, the conflict there, right? That we want to keep our taxes low, but we also want to support our teachers. And so I feel like we're working hard to do that, and this is a good balance of both, recognizing the impact on our taxpayers as well. And I'm grateful for the many people I've heard from in the community who are supportive of this and do express that they see what we're trying to do, and also they love our teachers and want to see them supported and see their salaries increased as well. So thank you for that. Okay, now we have motioned and seconded on this, and so we will take a vote. Because we have a board member who is remote, we need to take a roll call vote. And so we are going to let's start with Melanie, and then we'll go down the row here in person, and then Lisa will have you go last.
Melanie Hall, aye. Emily Harrison, aye.
Meg Van Wagenen, aye.
Jennifer Partridge, aye.
Gina Hales, aye.
Terry McCabe, aye.
Lisa Boyce, aye.
Okay, so that is unanimous. That passes. And now we are looking for a motion to adjourn our hearing and at the same time convene our business meeting.
I move that we adjourn the Truth in Taxation hearing and convene our business meeting.
Okay, motion made by Vice President Hales. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Board Member Hall. And our hearing is adjourned, and we are now in our business meeting. And we are going to turn it over to Board Member Hall for some opening remarks.
Okay. So I thought it would be
Recording
appropriate-
stopped.
Tell me when you want me to start. I'm okay. Okay. I thought it was appropriate to talk about the district's theme of Believe in the Magic. I had the opportunity to go to Disneyland last month, and at the end of one meeting, I watched the show World of Color. This is an amazing show of lights, music, and water fountains. During part of the show, Joy, a character from the movie Inside Out, says, happiness is all of us, all together. It's more than a celebration of friendship. It's a truth about learning and growing together. In World of Color, each light and fountain is beautiful on its own, but the real magic happens when they combine into one breathtaking display. Education works the same way. Each student, teacher, and lesson is a unique color, but when they come together, sharing knowledge, curiosity, creativity, they form something brighter than anyone could create alone. Believing in the magic of education means knowing that every student is important, that working together helps us discover new things, and that together we can brighten minds and futures. Just like the colors in the show mix to make something beautiful, a community working together makes the magic of learning last a lifetime. I'm excited for the upcoming school year, and best of luck to our students and employees as we start a new year tomorrow. And thank you for believing in the Provo City School District.
You're here. Thank you, Melanie. Okay, we will now be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Assistant Superintendent Daryl Jensen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we are at the Community Connections portion of our meeting, and we want to welcome all of those who are here in person and online. Now is the time if there's anyone here to give public input. Is there anyone who would like to do that? All right. Okay. Well, then we will move on to our next item, which is our back to school update from Superintendent Dow.
So I just wanted to give a highlight about kind of what we're excited about as we're moving into the school year. School starts tomorrow. We're all going to be out and about and listening to kids and their excitement, and it's probably my favoriteest day of the year. Thank you to Melanie for sharing our theme for the year, which is Believe in the Magic. I think last year it was really about understanding that this is a great place to be in Provo, and now really believing that the momentum that we have can lead us to some great success. We shared some of those successes. We've shared that with our community and with our teachers, with our administrators, just the intensive efforts that they've put into really being very intentional with how they're working with students has already started that momentum in the right direction in terms of our outcomes. And so we're excited to continue that. One of our big areas of emphasis this year is attendance. And we hear from teachers and even from parents, and even I hear it from employers, like people are not showing up. Like we need people to show up and to be here, and we can make tremendous growth with our students if they come. And so I really want to give a huge shout out to our communications team, Caleb and Shauna. They've created an attendance toolkit. They've really empowered our principals. We're really trying to do some cool social media things to make kids realize that they really want to be at school, and then for our teachers and our administrators to make sure that every kid is feeling welcome. We love them, and we want to make sure that we can create the greatest opportunity for success, but we have to get them there. And so we're pretty excited about that. We have also talked quite a bit about behavior and just some of the challenges, and our student services team has really put together some great toolkits for our teachers and our administrators so that they can feel supported in some of the challenging behaviors that we have and how we're going to be providing those supports and do it in a systemic way. And then something that we're always working on is communication. We have a great relationship with our association, but we can always do better. And just making sure that our principals are communicating with their community, that our principals are communicating with their teachers, that we're doing all of those things as well has been something that we've really tried to focus on. And then we've really embraced kind of having a feedback loop. Our parent advisory committee, our community connections committee, trying to get more voices to the table to figure out what are some problems that we could solve in more creative ways. And also bringing our teachers and sharing that leadership so that they are on those teams, because there are so many things that happen as a school district that we don't know what that actually does in an individual classroom. And so being able to have that feedback loop with our teachers through leadership teams at each of the schools, I think will be really important in that process. And just really grateful that everyone in our district is really focused on creating a culture where our students are maximizing their opportunities, where our employees love to come to work. I love coming to work. Like, I might not love it at 8 o'clock at night on a Tuesday before the first day of school, but I feel like this work is very honorable work. And I appreciate so much that people want to ensure that we're being efficient and good stewards. I think that's what's really important about our strategic plan, is that transparency piece and being able to work with our business administrator and have a really good relationship with Devin and that operations side of our district so that we can be creative in those problem-solving processes. And I think it's interesting when people ask questions about, well, what positions have been eliminated or what have you done? I think the other thing that becomes really important is the state often is adding regulations to school districts, and to support those regulations, we have to assign people to be able to do that. When you think about how large our school safety bill is and all of the different pieces of school guardians and all of that goes into it, we have a lot of individuals that work together to make that possible. And those are things that were not in place 2 or 3 years ago that we now have to account for and figure out. And I'm grateful to work with a very innovative team that helps us to do that. We just also want to be sharing all of our good news with parents. We have not in the past been very good about giving those specific insights about what is our data showing, how are we improving. We've added different measurements so that we can be accountable. We're in the process of creating a dashboard that shows how we're being successful with our strategic plan. And we're training our individuals so that we can be a lot more transparent and be very quick in answering those questions, and it can be available to our public. So I love working with a team that's innovative in that way, but most of all, I appreciate working with individuals who care about kids and care about our future. And we were talking about just recognizing that every single individual that we encounter on a daily basis has an impact on our life. And whether we think they do or not, they really do. They, for good or for bad, or maybe sometimes neutral, but a teacher has a tremendous amount of influence because they're seeing a child every single day. Those individuals that are in the schools that are supporting our kids make such a difference, and we forget about how important that interaction is, because it makes or breaks a student's desire to be successful, to figure out what they want to do. They want to feel valued, and our teachers and our principals are so key in that process. And I'm just excited about the energy that exists in our district and just trying to provide the tools and the opportunity for everyone to be successful, because Provo really is the very best place to be. So I don't know what else to say. That's all I got.
Great. Excited for the start of the year. Thank you. Okay, before we move on to our business items, we ran out of time at our study session, and so I'd like to go back to our one item right now of our Wasatch update. And so Devin, is that
So we received a draft report back on Monday from Langen, who is our independent contractor or our independent engineer who's been doing some studies of the wall at Wasatch, so we can get that back up. We've taken our time. I know people are really wondering about when that's going to be taken care of, but we really wanted to make sure that we had a good solution, one that was going to be long-term, viable, and that we would have the team in place to be able to put that back together. So right now, the recommendations are not that different from what we had received. They did recommend increasing the amount of space with the blanket drain. That's the biggest portion of what will be added is a drain behind the wall to help mitigate any water collection. Also is constant, maybe not constant, there's some months it's not necessary, but just the readings of the piezometers and the inclinometers that they put into those borings to make sure that we're keeping an eye on that water if we have any water events. So we will be meeting sometime in the next week with the contractor, with the wall designer, with our independent engineer to go through the process, make sure everybody's on the same page so everybody knows what we're doing, and then get started, and hopefully we can get that wall back up before we get inclement weather. So right now, that's our update. I will keep everyone informed when that meeting is. I know Jennifer and Gina, you wanted to be involved, so we'll make sure that, and Meg, so we'll make sure that when that meeting happens, we include everyone, and then we'll get going. We're all very anxious to get that wall back up, so.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I feel like there was some information shared around compaction of soil, and so I just wanted to follow up, like, was there any discovery around how that soil is compacted and whether or not that's to the standards we need it to be?
So some of the report does talk about the compaction, and which is one of the reasons for the increased size of the blanket drains. So I don't understand it completely because I'm not an engineer, I'm an accountant, but there is certain fines that are in the soil that are supposed to not be above a certain percentage, and some of that soil was found to have a little bit more and significantly more in some areas more, which is why we'd be adding in an additional amount of the blanket drain. I believe that they've also asked IGES to do some further study and to see what they can do about further compacting that soil. But again, that will be part of that discussion when we meet all together.
Okay, because I'm curious to know, once that wall is back up, if that's prohibitive to steps that would need to be taken around to mitigate soil compaction problems potentially, or not?
So in the speaking with the engineering firm, they are fairly confident that the additional blanket drains will be sufficient. But I will double check, and they will be at the meeting, so those questions can be asked.
Awesome. And then I'm just also wondering, who is financially responsible then for this process?
That is going to be an ongoing conversation. There were some items that probably should have been done in the design, but again, we need to have everybody in the same room so we can have that discussion and make sure that responsibility is divvied out.
And I will just add that is one reason why some of us on the board will be at that meeting is I feel it's our responsibility as board members to make it clear that we do represent the whole community, and we have heard loud and clear and totally agree from our taxpayers that we do not want to pay for something that is not our fault. So we will convey that.
Thank you. I mean, I just want to reiterate, I know this is obnoxious and I'm sorry, but we paid a lot of money and built this according to what the experts suggested that we do, and nothing unusual happened. We didn't have an unusual winter or amount of water. And so I just want people to hear me say I don't believe that any of it should be financially our responsibility, but I know that's not always how things work out, but I just can't imagine them not being accountable for this.
Thank you for saying that more eloquently than I did, Lisa. All right, any other questions for Devin about the wall? Okay, we will update everybody once we've had that meeting. So, okay. Now back to our agenda for the business meeting. Moving on to our business items, we'll start with the large purchase request from Cyan Engineering. Devin, will you just give us a brief overview, please?
So first we have the boiler replacement at Provo Peaks. Again, this is our wanting to make sure we keep things on a schedule so we are not putting fires out, not literally with the boiler, but not putting fires out as things break. And so we have this design engineering to replace the main boiler at Provo Peaks.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion on this large purchase request?
I move that we approve the large purchase request in the amount of $140,134.29 for the boiler at Provo Peaks Elementary.
A motion made by Board Member Hall. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Van Wagenen. Do we have any discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote, starting with Melanie.
Melanie Hall, aye.
Emily Harrison, aye.
Meg Van Wagenen, aye.
Jennifer Partridge, aye.
Gina Hales, aye.
Terry McCabe, aye.
Lisa Boyce, aye.
Okay, that motion passes unanimously. Next is our large purchase request for concrete.
And that is not a typo. Concrete is the name, and which you can see on the invoice or the bid that's attached. So this is work that has not been started. This is work that we were waiting for approval from the board to do. The most critical piece is the transportation, the parking area where there's some cracks and where there's moisture that can get in. So we did an RFP in the spring and selected 4 or 5 companies that we can use for a lot of our crack seal replacement and our patching. Concrete was one of the companies on the RFP, so that is the reason they were chosen. This is for that transportation parking lot and quite a few of the sidewalks around Provo High.
Thank you. Do we have a motion on this purchase?
I move that we approve the large purchase request in the amount of $153,830. Sorry, I need my glasses, and 85 cents for concrete sealing and repairs for transportation and Provo High School.
Okay, thank you. Motion made by Board Member Harrison. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice President Hales. Do we have any discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote, and we'll start with Melanie again.
Melanie Hall, aye.
Emily Harrison, aye.
Meg Van Wagenen, aye.
Jennifer Partridge, aye.
Gina Hales, aye.
Terry McCabe, aye.
Lisa Boyce, aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously. And we do not have any policies to approve tonight, so we can move on from that. But we will have, we had some first readings tonight in our study session, and we will have some second readings and approvals at our next meeting. So, okay, now the items on the consent calendar. Before we take a motion, does anyone have any questions about any items on the consent calendar?
I do.
Go ahead, Terry.
So this one's for Jason or Wendy. I thought we were not hiring intern teachers at Title I schools anymore.
Nope, that's never been.
So just at Franklin then, we're not hiring intern teachers.
I don't know that we have an intern teacher, but it was up to Brooke to decide if she wanted to do an intern. I don't think there are currently intern teachers at Franklin Elementary.
No, because I saw on the personnel report that they did hire some at Amelia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I just thought we weren't hiring intern teachers at Title I schools anymore. I was under that impression.
Please, Jason, go
Jason,
ahead.
please come speak to that. That'd be great.
We have a partnership with the local universities, with both UVU and BYU. And with that, we have schools in both of those partnerships that are either Title I or non-Title I. And with both of those, we accept practicum students and intern students.
Okay, thank you.
And then Devin, in the July warrant report, for Sontag Recreation, which schools received playgrounds?
Oh, there were so many this year.
I can go in
Canyon Crest, Spring Creek,
Provo Peaks.
Provo Peaks, Amelia, I believe, or they just got Pour and Play. So those were the three main ones. I can look it up real quick.
It's okay. And then the Medicaid match from the state of Utah, what is that? What is that?
So we have our fee-for-service Medicaid that we, teachers and aides that work with the highly impacted and intense services, they do time studies to let know what kinds of services are being provided to some of these students. Medicaid then provides us with a reimbursement for that, but the district is also required to provide a match for that. So every quarter you'll see that on there. They do bill us quarterly for that. It's not an equal amount. We do receive more than they bill us for.
And then the M&M asphalt services. So how many schools got new paved? I saw
most of them. Most of that, it wasn't brand new asphalt. Most of it was just the crack seal and the overlay. So most of the schools received that, and some of them also were restriped.
Those are all my questions.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, I'll take a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I move that we approve the consent calendar.
Okay, motion made by Board Member Hall. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second.
Okay. Okay, we'll give it to Board Member Boyce. Second by Board Member Boyce. All in favor with aye? Oh.
Melanie Hall, aye.
Emily Harrison, aye.
Thank you.
Meg Van Wagenen, aye.
Jennifer Partridge, aye.
Gina Hales, aye.
Terry McCabe, aye.
Lisa Boyce, aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously, and thank you, Melanie, for just remembering for me. All right, item H is our student board member report, and we are so excited. It's a brand new school year, which means we have brand new student board members, and we have Rachel Rue here. Let's have you, Rachel, come up to the podium up here. And Rachel is our Timpview representative, and we would love to hear what you have to share with us.
Perfect. So my name is Rachel Rue. I'm the Timpview Student Board representative. And previously last year, I was on the Student Advisory Council as a junior. And through that, I was able to see how our board works. And I was able to give student input about the phone policy that we had enacted this last year. And I'm really excited to be able to help out and to be working also with my partner Bailey, who is part of the Provo representative. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. We're excited to work with you this year. Okay, next, our business administrator report, Devin.
So I think the main thing I could talk about a million things, but I think tonight I just would like to express my appreciation for the support of the school board and the superintendent and the staff. This is not an easy process. If it were easy, I think more people would be doing it more often. More governments would increase taxes more often. It's not something we take lightly. I look for every penny that I possibly can when I'm doing the budget, but making sure that we're equitable with the schools and providing the support that they need. And I do welcome anybody coming and talking to me. Anybody who is up here knows I love talking about the budget and finance. So if you get really bored during a day and want to come and get some really fun information for me, maybe not so fun for most people, I would love to explain about the process and let you know how that's done and how we come up with what we're trying to do. And so I welcome it. And I'm just grateful again for the support of several of the community members that we work with and for the board. So thank you.
Thank you, Devin. We appreciate all your hard work and all that you do for our district, and hope that you get some sleep sometime. So, okay, item J, board member roundtable. This is just the opportunity for any board members who would like to share what they've been working on or what's on their mind. Sometimes it's a committee report. We all get a break from committees and things in July, so it's okay if you don't have anything to share, but I will just take random. We won't go in an order, but does anyone have anything they'd like to share? Melanie?
We were able to meet with our new student board members, Gina and I and Daryl, Superintendent Jensen, and it was fun to get to know these new girls and excited to get to work with them, and excited to have their voice be part of our discussions. So, and I wanted to say thank you to Wendy for all of her hard work with policy. It's not always the funnest thing to work on. Oh, wait, forget. It is super fun, just like finances for Devin. But we are going to have a lot of policies that are going to be coming to the board this year, and so I appreciate all the hard work that goes into that.
Okay, anyone else?
I'll go. I have started receiving emails from teachers about mini grants. The foundation is meeting next week, and I should have more information after that. And then with the legislative or LegCom that we're on, we have been meeting with legislators ever since the session ended. And we are encouraging them to come into the classroom next month. And just so everybody knows, next week is the legislative interim session. And the education committee is on Wednesday and at 8:30 a.m. The school security task force is on Monday at 3:30 p.m. and the public education appropriations is on Tuesday at 1:15 p.m.
Thank you, Terry. Other reports? Okay, I will just add a couple things. First of all, I got the summer newsletter a few weeks ago. I don't know about you guys, but I got so excited. So, like, the biggest kudos to our communication team. It looks fantastic. Love it, and I love how clear it is, easy to understand. I mean, we've got a calendar in here. We have some of our, what Wendy was talking about, celebrating our successes are in here. I love the little map with the QR codes of all the different things that you can do. So, get help with your Chromebook, your attendance, all of those things. So great job. Appreciate all the hard work of our communications team throughout the year. Also, I just wanted to add for legislative committee, one thing we are working on is writing up some, as we have been talking with our legislators, we've been having meetings. In fact, we have a meeting this Friday with a few of our legislators just to share all the good in our schools as well as some of our challenges. They said, can you please write it all down for us? So we're working on what I would call talking points on some of our main things of what our situation is, what's going well, what we could use support with, how we specifically would love their support, and we'll be sharing that with them. And then I have also, I thought, why let all of our hard work just go in one little place? I'm going to share that with our Utah School Board Association and the JLC, if that's something that they want to adapt and use to help all board members throughout the state be able to talk to their legislators about. A lot of these are common issues among all of us. So for the rest of the board, I've been sharing those with you. Would love any feedback to help it just flow well and cover all the things that are important without being too verbose, because that's my specialty, is being way too verbose. So, all right. Anybody else? All right. Next, we will turn over to Wendy for the superintendent's report.
You'll see in your documents that we have some travel that was approved for the summer. And it's mostly just summer camps. And then we have a few tournaments and things that are beginning here in August and September, because we're already off into our fall sports seasons. So
Can I ask a question about one of these? Like Timpview volleyball, it says $0. I know that's not correct.
I don't know why that says 0. I'll find out.
I know from personal experience.
Yeah, she's like, it definitely wasn't $0. I forked out a big chunk of change
Do we
there.
need to add their Vegas trip on there too?
Yes.
Anyway, I'm just throwing those two out.
Yes. Next, we have our, I just wanted to say a couple things. First, I want to thank Devin for all of her hard work with the budget. She really does make things very understandable to when you talk about tax increments, and it's very easy, especially when you look on social media and watch individuals who can take little chunks of information and really misrepresent what individuals are doing. And she does such a good job of explaining that if you're ever looking at that and it doesn't feel right, or it feels frustrating, or you're not understanding something, I know that individuals that have reached out to Devin and have met with her, I know that's how I've gained all of my understanding of school finance, to make sure that we're utilizing all of our resources in the very best way possible. And going to the source, coming to us, walking with us in the halls, being in schools to see how those funds are actually utilized, can also be a game changer in terms of what your view is, because the numbers on the page mean something very different than when you're interacting with human beings and with teachers, and the impact that it has in our schools. I'm pretty excited for tomorrow. So we're going to start at Provo High, and we're going to move from west to east. So we hit every single school on the first day. And then we will be, my team will be out in a variety of kindergarten classes next Wednesday and Friday, the following Monday, and the first week of September. We had several kindergarten teachers that would like us to come and volunteer to know what it's like to have 27 kindergartners, or how they don't have, I hope they don't have 27 kindergartners, or I'm gonna poke my eyes out, but just so that we can see the great work that they're doing. So we're gonna be out in classrooms and really just trying to understand just the amazing work that our kindergarten teachers do in particular. So we'll be working on that. And then the last thing I wanted to say is I'm gonna steal this from Nate Edvelson. He's our special ed director. He used this when he was talking with new teachers, and I thought this was really good. It's a Greek proverb. It says, "A society grows great when old men plant trees in whose shade they shall never sit." And I think that's a really profound statement when we can make decisions that we know don't personally benefit us, but they benefit the generations to come. And those are often very difficult decisions, and I appreciate the members of the Provo City community that invest in our kids and that invest in just this community and the great things that can be accomplished here. That's it.
Thank you, Wendy. All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn the business meeting and convene a closed executive session for the purpose of discussing real property and litigation?
I move that we adjourn the business meeting and convene a closed executive session for the purpose of discussing real estate property. Is it just real property and litigation?
Okay, motion made by Board Member Van Wagenen. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice President Hales. And we will do a roll call vote.
Melanie.
Let's start with, yes, Melanie.
Melanie Hall, aye.
Emily Harrison, aye.
Meg Van Wagenen, aye.
Jennifer Partridge, aye.
Gina Hales, aye.
Terry McCabe, aye.
Lisa Boyce, aye.
Okay. That is the end of our business meeting, and board members, we will head back to boardroom 1. And thank you to the public who's here tonight. Appreciate it.